Thanks for coming back. This is the tag that I made earlier, that I've stippled the whole surface of it, and I'm just going to leave it to dry. And then when you've allowed your tags to dry, you can see that they are quite firm. Don't be bashing them about. They're still like unfired clay, essentially. So this has got the stipple effect on it. And these ones here with the radiating points and the stripes have just been made by gently laying a needle tool or a knitting needle into the grooves. And don't be tempted to push down too hard, because I don't know if you can see on this one, there was one that I got a bit heavy-handed. If you push down too hard, you're then thinning the clay at that point, and you're making a breaking point almost if you're heavy-handed. Now they're dry, you can check that your holes go all the way through, and work on a flat surface with this. Use a fine tool. If you've got a pin drill, that's even better. And if you can go back in on the other side, just to check that your holes are open, because you're going to be sewing through these later. The other thing you want to do before you start colouring them is just grab yourself a piece of fine sandpaper and literally take off any pieces of clay that have been left from where you cut it. And then I found a couple of ways that you can colour this up. First of all, my old favourite, as you know, which is eyeshadow. I'm just going to rub the surface of this to put a little bit of grease. It sounds disgusting, I know, but it works really well. A bit of grease from my hand into the centre heart. And then I'm going to use my fingertip and a gold eyeshadow just to put a small amount of colour on here. Different shades of gold. So you've got more of a mottled effect. And then to get that depth of colour like you have with, artisan clay pieces, I've found that if you grab some, let's do this in turquoises to complement the gold. These are water-based inks. Now you might think, well, hang on a minute, your tile's just dried. Why are you now covering it in water again? It won't weaken the tile. It won't make it soft again. It'll make it damp. You will need to let it dry off before you seal it. But it's not going to make it so soft that you could then put your finger in it and put a finger mark in there. So I'm just going to put a generous layer of a very pale dilute green on here. You can add some patches of darker green and just soften them with a fingertip. And then finally I'm just going to get that very pale green again and just overwash with the excess colour that's on my brush to make sure that there aren't any visible white areas, so that you can add that depth of colour, and then when you've sealed it or varnished it, you've got a mottled effect. It's not one solid colour. You could use acrylic paints on something like this, but then that makes it a very hard, very solid colour. And I much prefer the effect that you get with softer, more mottled shades on there. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and then if you come back in the next video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to stitch into these tags. See you in a minute. Click here to see the next part of the video. And if you've enjoyed videos by the Crafts channel, hit the like button. Want to see more of us? Then click subscribe. See you next time.